YNW Melly next Thursday, October 30th, is one of the most important days of his life, or that following Monday, which is November the 3rd, is going to be the biggest day of his life up until now. And I'm going to tell you guys the reason why. Let's go. So remember when we had everything done, there was a whole bunch of questions about what's going to happen, and we're going to tell you what's going to happen because since the appellate court affirmed without a written opinion, the stay on the trial proceedings is lifted. That means the case can be remanded, and that basically means sent back to the judge to the 17th Judicial Circuit Court, and that's where Judge Fine will go ahead and think about it. And yeah, in theory, because the appeal is no longer blocking the proceedings, the prosecution and defense can move straight towards jury selection. Once the court calendar clears, the court will likely schedule a new case management or pretrial hearing to confirm both sides already. The state may still need time to review the evidence or file new motions, especially after losing that appeal. The defense may also file additional motions to clarify which evidence remains suppressed. And that's going to be the fight of their lives, because we left out there last week saying a couple of words like, yo, is it going to be this, and this? And they never told us. They never told us. Then the main question was, well, when the hell is it going to start all over? So while the appeal denial, clears the road, the speed now depends on how fast both legal teams move. But it does put the trial back in motion instead of it being froze. But what's literally going to happen is the 4th DCA will issue its mandate, the formal documents, sending the case back to Broward County. And then once that's entered, Judge Fine can set a new trial date, likely sometime in mid-2026. But it ain't going to be that damn 2027 delay, guaranteed. So expect the status conference for scheduling hearing within the next 30 days. But, what's more than likely going to happen, right, is there's no mandate on the docket. So the case hasn't formally been returned to Judge Fine. See what I'm saying? So when they issue whatever they issued, like when they issued their decision on October 15th, basically it's not final. It's not done all the way yet. And under Florida appellate rules, any party has 15 days from the decision to file a motion for rehearing and clarification. So the mandate, which is basically going to say, hey, we want to come back in here and look at all this shit, that's going to be issued after the 15-day period, meaning they got 15 days to get busy. So the PCA even says, it spells out, not final without disposition of timely filed motion for rehearing. Once the mandate issues, the stay is lifted. Broward can set the new hearings on a new trial date. Until then, the case is still technically at the DCA, so no official reset appears on the Broward docket. Trust me, research today. Yeah, I mean. So if y'all not knowing, a motion for rehearing is basically a request asking the court that just ruled on the case, in this instance the 4th District Court of Appeals, the 4th DCA, to reconsider its decision before it becomes final. Say like, hey, we need to go ahead and say like the judge made a mistake or overlooked something that's important. Like, please take another look before your decision becomes official. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going to end up happening, because imagine if it was done the other way and Melly would have lost it. You'd be like, what else can we do? Oh, we still have 15 days to try to, I don't want to say sway their opinion, but basically that's what's going to happen. So they'll have the ability to deny it, which happens majority of the time because it's like, I just told you, no. Or they can grant it and rewrite and amend that motion. So that's basically what the hell is going to end up happening. And I know what y'all thinking. Well, Nash, how the hell can they ask them to reconsider? Well, think about it this way. There's words that were used, right? Like the misapplication of the rank speculation standard, right? The state could claim the court misunderstood or mischaracterized its inevitable discovery argument. Like they might say something like the panel's conclusion that the state's argument was rank speculation overlooks testimony establishing that the investigators were actively pursuing the same leads through lawful means. Or they could say the failure to apply the good faith exception and basically say even if the warrants were overbroad, law enforcement acted in objective good faith under existing precedent. Basically, even if parts of the warrant were invalid, evidence shouldn't have been tossed because cops relied on them in good faith. Or they can say something like conflict with other Florida or federal cases. The state might argue the appellate decision conflicts with other rulings, allowing limited salvaging of overboard warrants. They could cite cases like State versus Gerald or U.S. versus Blake, saying the suppression ruling creates conflict or misinterprets severability principles. That could be paired with a request for certification of conflict, and that's the 4th DCA to flag this for the Florida Supreme Court to review, which means they really could say, we don't like your decision, but can y'all flag that so we can take that to the people that's above you? Is that cool? So, and just because it's, I don't know, bro. It's just a whole bunch of stuff, because you can look at it and say, oh yeah, they're overreaching on this part right here. Like, hell nah, we're not gonna let that one fly. Like, courts, we need you guys to look at this. Like, this is artificial limitation, and it's gonna severely restrict the relevant evidence of motive, like the planning and the aftermath. Like, they could say like, this ain't enough time for us to go say a couple of days later when we actually figured out that this meant this. So it's like, y'all only saying we got a day to figure this shit out. But if we would have studied and investigated this one particular thing, we would have stayed on the heels of it for about a week. And that's one of the ones that you kind of had to go, yeah, I get it, but I don't know. But because of the double homicide nature and public attention, prosecutors probably going to argue that the appellate court failed to consider the heightened public interest in prosecuting capital crimes and make it say something like public safety or whatever the hell. But they can't relitigate the facts or add new evidence. So the rehearing motion must be limited to legal or factual oversights already in the record. So we will see exactly what happens, because the odds of reversal, I'll give you all a chance to figure that out percentage-wise. You ready for this? Boy, it's about 5%. So we'll see if they do it. They have all the way up until the 30th to do it. And then if they don't do it by the 30th, the damn docket's going to end up that next Monday on the 2nd of November, right in front of Judge Fine. And then we'll figure out exactly what the hell's going to happen. So if they don't get any mandate by that 30th, which is that Thursday, then on that Monday, which is the 3rd, you're going to see it go right back to Judge Fine's desk. And then basically he's going to set in the pretrial motions and all of this stuff, and we'll get back to it. Now, does that mean that it's going to go into what they say, 2027? I don't see that happening. But the judges, they typically have calendars, and these calendars are for whatever they are and whatever they are. And I think the judge, honestly, I think the judge is going to say, you know what, man, F all this. We're just going to get on with it, because I'm about sick and tired of y'all. You know what they say, I'm about sick and tired about being sick and tired. Yeah, so all in all, I hate to say it, but this is good for the state ultimately in the long run. In the short term, it's good for Melly, because they're not going to allow certain things. But the more they're able to dig, the more they're able to find, the more they're able to look, the more they're able to say all of this crap, then there you go. Because that overreaching shit that they did, bro, it does set up for a lot of people in the future. But it also puts a whole lot of resources, good or bad, behind the police being able to figure out crimes in a certain amount of time, which means they had to treat stuff serious. But that also means if they don't treat it serious enough, then other people will not get justice. We're talking about innocent people and all this crap. Because end of the day, y'all can say what y'all want about Sack, Chaser, and Juvie and all this shit, but they're still innocent young men, you know? It's still like these youngins are victims, and it seems as though the world kind of forgot about that part because they're so intrigued with stardom. And what I mean is, we got to see where there was a message that was sent in the inbox of Melly and all this, like, oh yeah, we smoked your homies and all that, and all this other stuff and everything. Now, it could have been a play by Melly. It's like, oh, look at this, look at that. But the fact that the police did not decide to go deep dive search that, didn't care to hit up Instagram to find the IP address or any of this shit, that's where it's bothersome, because it wasn't a thorough investigation. It just wasn't. So when I see, and I get it, nobody talked to me. So I know it was Sex Chaser, Juvie people, they must have hit you. I ain't never spoke to those individuals. But I do have to step back and go, damn, buddy is just pissed off, and he feel like nobody gives a damn about his kids. So I got to put myself into that mindset, because one, that's what the people expected me to do. Two, it's just more mature. So if his daddy cussed me out, it's still F him. But I do, and I can say I get where the hell he coming from. To him, it seems like we're all being biased, but we're not a part of the crew. All we're doing is we're seeing a story told and painted of an individual who says that he's innocent. So now people are looking at it to see how he's actually innocent. So it is what it is. But yeah, as far as it goes with the prosecutors, understand this. This prosecutor is kind of new, kind of wet behind the ears, kind of fresh out that goddamn doggy line. See, when Christy or whatever the hell you name her name, whenever she got the boot and she got kicked up off the case, I ain't gonna hold you. That made it way worse. Then we got to look at Moretti and study. Well, here's the best part. They get to study Moretti and go, I know what you said here. I know what you said here. I know what you said here. I know where your strong suit is right here. And I know where your weak suit is right here. I'm going to sting you, sting you, sting you like the yellow jacket I could be. And boy, with a woman, like how the attorney that Melly got, I can't think of her name right now. She gonna put, I'm telling you, bruh, when we talk about a new stardom powerhouse lawyer that's about to come in, Carrie, that's her name. By the time she's done, bruh, her price is gonna skyrocket. I'm telling you all this right now. Now the people in Florida, they know who she is, but the world about to find out real quick. That woman is probably gonna become one of the most requested lawyers in Florida after this trial is done. Because if she's able to pull this off, not saying Melly's innocent or guilty, I'll just let the facts play out. But if it is proven that Melly is innocent and he walks on out of that court, all right. But I just don't see how he walks if they get another mistrial. They're going to hold him, bro. They're going to hold YNW Melly until they get a doggone motherfucking guilty. When we do the Derrick Rose story, it's a whole nother world to that story that's going to drop tonight that y'all going to be like, ain't no mother effing way. So yeah, just remember, just know, we still going to come out with that Derrick Rose story. The Hood Rich Pablo Juan story going to drop on the Reloaded channel. But yeah, bro. Carrie Hout, yeah. All the lawyers she got, bro. The strategy she's going to come for Mark Moretti and Mr. Buzz Lightyear shite shit up, it's going to get interesting. Because remember, they had to repeat the same shit that they said before. They had to make it look good. But if I know how you're going to say whatever you're going to say, I can rip you into shreds about damn near anything. And that's the scary part. There are going to be individuals watching this whole entire, go back and watching the case and listening and looking, and they're going to tear these cats smooth hell up. Mark my words. We're going to come out as a whole with a more favorable look towards YNW Melly. That, to be fair, I don't know if it's going to be good for the state, for sack chasing and juvie. Like, it might get worse. So, I don't know. Subscribe, turn on the bell, stay notified, share to keep your people aware. Click right here and see how the war ended with Charleston White and Woody. And boy, y'all got a whole lot to say about that. Or click right here for the playlist and get through y'all day. I'll catch, we 37K away from that giveaway. So make sure you subscribe and comment your thoughts. I'll catch y'all in the next one.